my song. Let's sing it. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Come on, it's gonna be fucking awesome. You know the words. It's gonna be fucking awesome. That's it, sing. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah!
Hey, everybody. Jesse Blaze Snider, the coolest geek alive here. And welcome to Coolest Geek Alive. But, I'm thinking about changing the name. I wanted to change the name at the anniversary of the show, but I don't know. For some reason, I just didn't execute at the time, and then it seemed like it was like the time had passed. But I was going to change it to Coolest Geeks Alive, because I believe if you remember on episode, I think it was 200 or 100 or one of them, I was celebrating the coolest geeks alive, and I think I had Aaron Sparrow on, and we did that. So now though, I want to change it to Coolest Alive, and I'm thinking about maybe opening up the show to music, and I used to do a separate show called All Your Favorite Bands Suck, but it was actually hard to keep that pace of studying all these bands or whatever. If I could just occasionally throw in a band episode for this podcast, that would make my life a lot easier. I could do, an All Your Favorite Bands Suck episode, and I could do that pace a lot easier. Write me at jesseblaze@jessesnider.com if you think that's a good idea or a bad idea or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about rebranding and just kind of opening up to a few more of the areas of things that I love. And it doesn't just have to be geek culture stuff, especially last episode I did was a celebration of Robert Redford, which, I suppose there's a perspective of a film geek is, I guess you would say, but, he's not a particularly genre type actor or whatever. I like to cover things that I love, and it doesn't mean that it necessarily has to fall into a little box. So maybe it's time for us to break out of the box. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. You let me know. Anyway, before I start getting into the Jimmy Kimmel situation, and I really want to just talk about the fucking yucky false morality that's going on, and it's just so stupid. It's like watching your parents fight when you're a centrist, just watching things get politicized, and I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time there's an objective truth amongst all of the nonsense that we're seeing happen, and we're going to talk about it. But I've got a campaign. It launches on Friday. It's for the Solfeggio Transmissions Volume 1, the Healing Frequency album that I made. I've been basically realized that a lot of people don't really understand anything about healing frequencies, and I've been trying to kind of just educate people about what it is I did here, because there's a whole practice of sound healing across the nation, and essentially this is me taking music that you might like to listen to normally, like modern music, and turning them into songs that could help you in a similar fashion to, the way these sound healers are helping people to relax and lower their heart rates and other things like that. So, I just wanted to really raise awareness about it, and I decided to do a really cool limited thing. There's 1,000 copies of this Gold Flame edition that we're selling starting on Friday for 33 days. And there's a couple really cool stretch goals depending on how invested you want to get into it. Not stretch goals, higher tiers or whatever. There's an extra album that I made, which is all songs that I made for my kids and my family, because I made this music using AI, but I wrote all the songs, and the songs I'd written for years. Some of these songs, some of the ones on the Heart record, which is the stuff I wrote for my kids and my mom and stuff like that, I don't know, decades, I've been singing these songs. But through the miracle of AI, I was able to use AI just as a band. I didn't have to hire a band or, get people to work on things for me. Granted, I've had bands in the past, but the songs that I was recording weren't necessarily appropriate, or they weren't appropriate by the time I wrote them, or I'd moved on sound-wise. There's a ton of reasons why you don't necessarily record something. But to do it for myself, I started just making all this shit. And I very quickly started putting it into all these healing frequencies because I always wanted to make albums in healing frequencies. And at a certain point, I said, I should make this available. But then when I made it available, I felt like nobody understood what it was. So this campaign's all about trying to raise awareness for that. So yeah, check it out. It's on Kickstarter. Solfeggio Healing Frequency Music for modern music fans is what it's called, I think. And but if you type in my name, I think you'll find it, and whatever else. Sign up for notifications now. If you listen to this show, regularly, because it's launching on Friday. But otherwise, get in there by Friday. You'll hear this in the future. In the future, go see if you can still get it. Get it. It'll be great. It's really cool. It's a fucking amazing album. Some of my favorite songs, it's just weren't exactly the right vibe for bands that I've been in. Just some really great stuff. Just rockin' blues and soul and pop, and it's just really good, and a little country. It's a mix of things. It's really great, but it's all based on my vocal for the melody and the arrangements that you really have to work with the AI to get it to give you exactly what you want and not change your intention. But I said it's like a 94 to 99%, sort of thing. I can get within 99% of that's pretty fucking close to what I had envisioned. And then I can get to a 94% where there's a thing or two that ain't exactly right, but it's really close to right. And usually I sometimes I live with those ones, but it's really a cool thing just to be able to make as much music as I want to. I write a song for my girlfriend and I can just make it for her, and and the AI helped me do it, but it's the song that I made. I wrote it. I wrote the melody. This is how it goes. You'll if you ever see me recording any of these things, you'll see me beatboxing into the microphone at various things, or humming various tunes to cue the AI and get it to do exactly this thing. And then basically a lot of the stuff that you'll hear, a lot of it's a cappella because I'm giving it an a cappella, and then I have it cover it. It's actually difficult for me sometimes when I want to add more music, to add as much music as I'd like to. But I really love all of the things that I've released on this album, and they're really just came out brilliantly. And the songs are just tied into the healing frequencies, and it's really a lot of love went into this because it was for people I loved, and it was for myself, and and then I just sort of went, I'm going to share this with people. So here you go, my gift to you. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for helping me and supporting me and sharing things like that I do. The letters that I do get are fucking really. I always thought when I would get letters, it would be fuck you. Because I'm gonna go say some controversial shit, I guess. And it's never that. It's always just sort of thank you for saying what I was thinking, and that kind of stuff. And also just people who will come befriend me online and won't even tell me that they listen to my show. And then at a certain point it comes out oh yeah, I listen to your show all the time. Oh, okay, cool. Feel free to tell me if you're talking to me or you decide to talk to me. It's just nice to know that that you hear from people, because I do hear from people, but it's always about I don't know. It just seems too good to be true, honestly. It's just always positive, kind of nice things, supportive things. I'm where's my criticism and shit? I'm not perfect. You guys rule anyway. I really appreciate all the people who have been so cool, and I do appreciate actually the timidity of of some of the approaches where you just don't even make me feel just hey, how's it going? And it'll talk to me about some stuff. Anyway, sorry, that's me just romanticizing and seeing all the future little conversations, because I enjoy it, and especially I haven't been at comic conventions in a while, but I'm really looking forward to running into people who listen to the show. So if you see me and you're a listener, definitely come up to me. Okay? Anyway. Fall is here, and now I've got weekly deliveries coming to my doorstep. And when they come, I like to say, "Hello, Fresh." Bringing me comfort, chef-designed recipes, and fresh seasonal ingredients right to my door, and your door too. This season, they've taken things to the next level with their biggest menu refresh yet. Say hello to a whole new way to do dinner. It's bigger. HelloFresh has doubled its menu. Now you can choose from 100 options each week, including new seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. And it's also healthier. You can feel great with an even healthier menu filled with high protein and veggie-packed recipes. Plus, it's tastier. Get steak and seafood recipes delivered each week for no extra cost. There's some talking points that they have where they're like, here's some additional talking points. But I like to mention all of them. 91% of customers say they feel healthier eating with HelloFresh. 9 out of 10 say dinner is more delicious with HelloFresh. HelloFresh is the easiest way to cook dinner. HelloFresh is America's #1 choice for home cooking. Doesn't that say it all? The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/CGA10FM now to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/CGA10FM to get 10 free meals plus a free item for life. So let's talk about this whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. Oh God, I hate the whole thing. It's just so funny. It's like, look, we're all going through a psychological warfare campaign, and I like to think some things are fucking natural, and I suppose some things are, but at the same time, I start to go like, oh my God, like look at the orchestration here, from us being sad about Charlie Kirk to being outraged by, some really gnarly responses online, to being kind of equally outraged, I think, by the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel. And it's a very interesting thing to me because Jimmy, for those of you who don't know, as a late night host, he's decidedly liberal, and he's like really went after people for the vaccines and has been pretty let's just say he's become quite a bit of an annoyance amongst most right leaning people. I don't know. I'm sure some of the middle people don't like him either. I'm kind of neutral about all this shit, to be perfectly honest with you. I really just don't feel like I have a stake in the matter, but I understand it pretty well. So you've got this dude who is, what Jimmy said, I don't like as a person, because I feel that it is, a little bit of added energy to just the us versus them sort of thing. I really liked late night hosts when they were neutral and were presenting something that all of humanity could get behind. And I just feel like there's just so much division, and people who want to do comedy, it's just there's just got to be a less divisive way to go about doing it. But whatever, and and additionally, I just do feel like it. I guess I said what I said. I guess I said what I was going to say already. I won't repeat myself, but this reaction to Jimmy, the save Jimmy. It is unfortunately so disingenuous. This is the same liberal mob as a group, and I'm talking about, the fucking group of people amongst, who are letting their, respective political flag fly on the Twitters and social media and whatnot. The people who come to try to cancel you, or whatever from the left side, they're screaming free speech, but nobody did that for Gina Carano, and I just find it all so hypocritical and just like, ugh, just like creating such a. And and I guess they don't. Do they understand? Like, they can't. That was a different situation. Was it a different situation? I mean, I don't know. It just, and there's a lot more people than Gina Carano who got like canceled at the time on the right side of things, and it was just like there's this back and forth thing where like, when the one side's doing it, it's justice. When the other side's doing it, it's rape. Like, it's really just kind of crazy for people who are really just in the middle trying to love everybody and, figure it out. I understand a lot of you guys are just in this loop, this Hatfield and McCoy's loop, but it's unbecoming of thinking people, and we can do better than this, I think. And, Jimmy Kimmel came back, and I'll talk about like the real details of this. He came back after cancellation, and he said sorry. I was just watching some Tim Pool, and he was basically saying that like he didn't say sorry. He explained himself, and explained himself without a lot of. I didn't watch the whole show, but what I saw, there wasn't a lot of divisive talk, and it was a nice neutralizing sort of thing for me. I suppose he didn't say sorry about certain things, and I don't really think he needed to. But I mean, like, if he wanted to say sorry for, something more abstract in what he was doing, and explaining himself was a little bit of that, but there was some things he could have said, sorry for. But I mean, I thought it was a fine, response. But the truth of the matter is, with this whole situation was, from the start, and I don't know, are there conversations going on behind closed doors, or are there pressures that we don't know about? Perhaps. But at the very least, this conversation took flight and was rectified, and like before all the facts were in, kind of thing. And there is so much information that, just has a lot of people like me knew immediately. I mean, like, first of all, Jimmy Kimmel's ratings, just like Colbert and whatnot, their ratings aren't great. Apparently, these guys have been operating at like 40 to 50 million loss per year. So these late night pundits have been doing very poorly, right? And some of the, I'll read you some of the. I took a bunch of screenshots of. I was watching for. Oh, hold on a second. I have to get my. Oh shit! All of my charging shit has fallen out of the wall. So I haven't been charging my phone. Oh no, and now I'm knocking things over. This is a real podcast. This is what you're paying for, folks. Things to be. I don't know what the deal is. Like, sometimes these outlets are really loose, and sometimes they're like really tight. Tight, loose. Okay, everything's going back on. Okay, life is good again. We're better. Oh, how are you guys doing? I'm a little overwhelmed. I gotta get this fucking Kickstarter going. Kickstarters are so much fucking work. There's so much work, but they're awesome if you can really get them going. I've been getting mine going just a little bit, but like, honestly, just like the exchange right now for the amount of work that I have to do to properly execute them is just, oh God, it's a lot, man. It really is a lot. So I'm feeling a little exhausted. Okay, so let's see. I was watching one of my favorite channels, Midnight Edge on YouTube, and they kind of covered everything that I wanted to like talk about. So I just kind of shout out to them being awesome, and I'm just like pulling up a couple pieces from their from that presentation of the information. So Piers Morgan had posted on the Twitters at a certain point in time. So Kimmel wasn't canceled by Trump or the FCC after all, but temporarily suspended by his employer because they thought what he said was ill-timed and insensitive. Okay, cool, because underneath this is something from Fox News. And I know you might say Fox News, but this is just like factual information, and there's a printed thing of the info here that says, statement of Jimmy Kimmel Live from the Walt Disney Company. The Walt Disney Company issued the following statement today regarding Jimmy Kimmel Live. Last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an exceptional moment in our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. So, and this is from Disney announces show will resume Tuesday after it was be suspended. And that keeps with and tracks with other information. That seems to be very true. Nexstar stations will join Sinclair in preempting Jimmy Kimmel when host returns to ABC tonight. So now this is the thing. Nexstar stations, they were the ones who had said they were going to preempt, as in put on something else, Jimmy Kimmel. And they still are doing it. So nothing has changed except Disney didn't cancel the show, even though their affiliates dropped the show. And their affiliates were not actually approached by the FCC. Were they intimidated like a Gestapo mafia, like the way they want to depict it? I don't know. No such accusations would normally be made at the fucking Democrats. It's just kind of a fucking crazy thing. It's like, I'm a fucking crazy person who is open to all sorts of crazy ideas. Is that possible? Yes. But amongst the general consensus of what we're supposed to be playing under, what reality is supposed to be, that's not supposed to be going on. And theoretically speaking, we would be able to find out if that was going on. And if it wasn't going on, that would wow, there's a lot of secret shit where we can't actually see it. It's just like gets said all the time. I don't really believe that hyperbole is helpful to anybody. It's just it just amplifies all of the things, just like all this talk about civil war is just a bad fucking CIA operation or whatever else. And the CIA, if you dig deep enough, you'll see they are not they are controlled by the same interests that the elite, money that is controlling the politicians are in control. They're like the fucking police for the elite. And they are doing things that help those people. This whole Charlie Church situation is not some fucking lone gunman or whatever fucking snipered somebody live on TV in front of 3,000 people, that young people. I did a live show, and it doesn't even matter that he was hidden and nobody could see him or whatever else. Just all of the energy, all of the people there in the room, you get nervous. And this guy, nerves of steel, you had to that's a fucking some sort of military-like operation, taking out a person in front of people while it's filmed. It's, I talked about this on my show every Monday. You can check out Everything They Don't Want You to Know. I did I guess it was a Charlie Kirk episode. But it's all just crazy, that we just perpetually take the same bait over and over again. Those who don't remember history, come on, Lee Harvey Oswald, the lone gunman, it's like, it's a wonder this guy didn't get shot on his way to being arraigned. Oh, maybe he will. it's really nuts, so we really have to just kind of wake up and be a bit smarter about what's really going on in the world, because there's just lots of intelligence agencies doing lots of intelligence agency things, and all of this is a game, and the media narrative, like the way us being sad about fucking Charlie became the right rallying for Jimmy, and then sort of like posting about Jimmy's reinstatement. Now it all feels energetically like this fuck you, right wing, like your win for somebody dying, we got it back. Like it's just and forgive me for reading it that way, just looking at Facebook, and I have a Facebook of generally pretty wonderful people, and then like this thing just sort of gave an opportunity for a certain type of post that I didn't really appreciate amongst certain people. It's just all like, it's like that fucking morning never took place. The news cycle went so fast from one thing to another. It's really just kind of disgusting. If you ask me, it's rather disgusting. The thing that originally happened before Disney themselves, Bob Iger made the decision, canceled Jimmy Kimmel, was Next Star Stations is preempting his show. So that's, still happening. And there's a list, that I have here of, what the FCC is supposed to be guarding against. And one of those things is broadcasters are prohibited from intentionally falsifying the news. The FCC, however, will intervene in cases of accidental inaccuracy or a difference of opinion. I think it's an easy argument to say what Jimmy said was his opinion. He basically was saying that the Republicans were working very hard to distance themselves as being anything but what they were. Like, so he tied it back to Republicans, which people said by that point in time, it had been clearly shown that he wasn't exactly that, and it seems he's not exactly that. But it doesn't matter what they're fucking telling us. This is all a fucking distraction. Don't get hung up in all this bullshit. And what he said, though, was just sort of like a general kind of open-ended idea about... Sorry, I just got a text message and it came up on my screen, and I'm like, and it like shook me to my core. Something I texted a creative decision that I'm like excited about, and like they like turned it around. They were like, "How about another thing?" And I'm like, "No, not that. I want to do it the one way. No." Okay, sorry, I can't talk about it. But crushed my spirits. Crushed my spirits in the middle of the show. You were here when it happened, when my spirits were crushed. It's okay. Maybe I could still talk them out of their suggestion. Okay. So an opinion, the way he said it was really, kind of, there's a couple different reasons why it's not so ironclad. But the FTC hadn't actually gone after him. And he hadn't actually, been targeted by them. And if he was, he wouldn't have been canceled. He would have gotten a fine. So, all of this stuff happened because of affiliates and then reaction from Disney for the affiliates thing. Also, one of the headlines here was ABC 10. Jimmy Kimmel's suspension might have been a factor in shooting at Sacramento ABC affiliate, DA says. And then, oh my God, like this kind of thing. Just like, this is how revved up people are getting about this fucking situation. And all this like fucking talk of civil war and blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants a fucking civil war. This shit's crazy. There's no need to like, empower any of these ideas. And if there's anybody who wants a civil war, let them have the civil war. Don't go where people who are talking about having a civil war are going. If your friends start talking about civil war, don't hang out with them anymore. like you can hang out with them at their house at like safe places, but just like if they're going to like a big group of other people that you know are all thinking about the Civil War, don't hang out with them. Don't go there. Just stay away from those people, and I think you'll be fine. That's my plan. So before we wrap up this conversation, I just want to bring it back to, the Gina Caranos of the world, and there were a lot more people who unfairly and like quickly got shuffled off this mortal coil because of accusations. Even people like Johnny Depp, who I think it's. I mean, if for those of you who are still on the ladies' side, if you haven't heard that one conversation with her, basically like goofing on him and like just so many. Oh my God, there's a conversation that just really says, I kind of think all you need to know about like what this relationship was with this lady, and he was not behaving in a similar fashion. Granted, I think he was the one probably recording the conversation or whatever, but it was very telling of like what he was dealing with, and there's so much stuff like if you look into that thing that really demonstrates who that person was, and Johnny doesn't quite seem to be that kind of person, not perfect though he may be. It took a lot of work for him to get exonerated through this thing and whatever else, and very little support. He was just sort of canceled out of sight, and then coming back from this thing. There's more. I'm sure, like, if you just go to YouTube and type in a thing, because I'm not, like, thinking off the top of my head of, like, who else was canceled. But for me, the Gina Carano one has just been bothering me because of the prevalence of Pedro Pascal, who never stood up for her. Now here's, Jimmy Kimmel, the former host of The Man Show. We got to stand up for free speech. This is such a political thing. You're not standing up for free speech. You're being a jerk. You didn't stand up for free speech in other times, and I believe that this time around, unlike when it had happened before, you got the support of the people on the right. My girlfriend, who is a Republican, and really that means she's super cool. She's not a Republican per se. She's not a Republican, but she is conservative. And she's a cool cat. I don't put all the conservative vibes on her. But she immediately called me when the Jimmy Kimmel thing had come out, and she went, "I don't approve of this." And I was like, oh, you're talking about the Jimmy Kimmel thing. I'm like, that's not really exactly what's going on here. And she said, yeah, I don't approve of him getting fired for what he said. He should be able to say whatever he wants to say, even though I don't agree with it. And that sentiment has been there, and there has been support on both sides for the Jimmy Kimmel thing not being the right thing. When it goes to the left, they just like, oh, I didn't see anything, which is a fucking fucked up thing. And I am very liberal, like my girl's a conservative. I'm very liberal. I see, my people just sort of turning the fucking, this is why I left. I left the party, I wasn't ever really a member of the party, but I voted Democrat my whole life. And I very much believed in a lot of Democratic candidates. And then one day I really realized that they were the most controlled, actually. And, and it started, but I didn't see that initially until I really left and really started to look into things even deeper and deeper. But it started with me getting really upset that they weren't holding people accountable, because Hillary Clinton had really demonstrated herself to be untrustworthy. On a lot of occasions, there was a lot of stuff. There were a lot of books being written. But beyond that, there were things that were like, she smashed her phone with a hammer. She's, kind of crazy kind of things that were very suspicious behavior. And the Democratic Party was just really happy to sweep it under the rug. And I was very annoyed with that, but I was one of the loud people who, was kind of keeping her at bay. And supporting people like Bernie Sanders, and at the time, Elizabeth Warren, who I trusted in the beginning, but I no longer do. And, these people were, pushing for just a more reasonable world and, perhaps socialized in various people's opinion and whatnot. But I do believe a hybrid system, if we all supported it and did it the right way, could be great. I understand now why so many people think, it can't be done, it wouldn't be done, blah, 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 blah. But the pick of the people was Bernie Sanders. And he was the first one with really major rallies before Donald Trump was Bernie. And Hillary Clinton had fucking nobody. And people were donating to the Democratic Party. They thought they were donating to Bernie, and the money was being funneled to Hillary Clinton. And when that happened, and they basically usurped Hillary for him, kind of last minute in my eyes, because they let us all feel like there was a chance, and then in the last minute they made this problem, and then I remember my Democratic friends turning to me going, "No, shh, we gotta be unified." And I'm like, "But look what they just did," and nobody wanted to talk about it or they were don't rock the boat, and I just went, well, if I can't fucking talk about, if I can't call out corruption that I'm seeing and a fucked up situation that I'm seeing in the party, I've got nothing to fucking do with you guys anymore. You've proven dishonesty, and then since then it's just really gotten more and more of that for me. The fact that we haven't, the Democrats haven't called for Nancy Pelosi to be fucking tried for insider trading and gone after other members of Congress when it's been so out there as information for everyone for this much time. These things as a Democrat, if I was still one, it would really hurt me. I think this is just crazy that we're allowing these simple things that are just right there. There's so many little hypocrisies, and there's so much, the Republican Party is plenty infiltratable, but it is a little bit harder to pin down because there's a lot of different interests that tend to call themselves Republicans. They're, that's why the news always say is, will this person unify the Republican Party? Well, you're saying to unify the Republican Party because the Republican Party isn't really super, tends to be kind of split. But the people that unify the Republican Party, I tend to find, are the ones who have enough money behind them to pay everybody off and promise everybody, various little concessions or whatever it might be, and get themselves, into the mix. And those people are the fucking, secret society, Illuminati picks, the picks of the money, the picks that, and I'm sorry to turn this into an episode of Everything They Don't Want You to Know, but this is really the truth of the matter. It's a really, really tight little group of people that are the elites of this shit, controlling all this stuff. So, I just say, tune out of this fucking conversation and this thing, the people who are noisy on social media and all these other things, their job is posting things, they don't fucking buy things, they don't care, they're not engaged, they think they're little rock stars, everybody's wrapped up in their own shit. There are audiences for your stuff, and there is audience, voice, but it's there's just so many bots, and there's so much echo chambers, and the internet is not what it used to be. Podcasts are still kind of a little way to get out there and, being able to advertise our podcast and have people get a hold of the show and listen to the show. It's really cool. We're able to get out there and talk about things in, I think really balanced ways, or at least I try to. And if you don't think I do, write to me at jesseblaze@jessesnider.com. I've literally never had anybody write me a letter, and it's this is a challenge to you listening to me. I've literally never had a letter of anybody who challenges me on anything. Although that's not true. I have gotten a consistent thing of I don't agree with you on everything, and I guess maybe that's the thing, and that's why I've never gotten any hate mail, because people go, I'm with you on a lot of the stuff. Some of these things I don't necessarily see that way, but that's okay. I see that you care, and this is your perspective, and I appreciate hearing different perspectives. And that's how it should be, right? That's how it is for me. I appreciate hearing different perspectives. Listening to Joe Rogan, he's into fitness, and he takes care of himself, and it's been an encouraging thing in my life. Just every time I see him, and Rogan stays in shape, and that's been he's just one of many people who make me feel like he can do it, I can do it, he can do it, I can do it, kind of thing. And there's wonderful things to be said about all that. So I don't remember why I was bringing up that pointed metaphor, but I was. I feel like there was like one or two more things I wanted to say about this. Let me just go through this whole thing real quick. Well, I mean, I feel like I really generally talked about everything, the best way that I can. Firstly, just I want you to take away from this, like, it's all a show, guys, and don't get your dander up, either way about all this stuff. Because I mean, just look at the way it just rolls, and it's unfortunate the way it rolls, and unfortunate what's going on right now. And but we can control it by talking about it differently. And recognizing when something is like like a calculated thing that happened, and they're just pointing us to one guy in one day, and now there's a conversation about Jimmy Kimmel. It's just all fucking orchestrated chaos, my friends. Orchestrated chaos. It's a bummer. I really don't think that you should feel too bad for Jimmy Kimmel. His ratings are not great, and apparently operating at a loss. This is, information that came out a while ago, along with the Colbert thing. I don't remember what his numbers were next to Colbert's, but like they're not doing well. And they need to find people who would do well with a larger audience and whatever else. So was this the straw that broke the camel's back for the affiliates? I guess so. Was it a silly straw to kind of break the camel's back? Yeah, kind of. But is there a changing in the water within the culture? And, like I was saying to my friend, there are clear signs that you can see that perspective-wise, what is now considered a conservative perspective, which is really old school Democrat perspective and conservative perspective, and then Democratic Party perspectives, that they are not being held by the public. And the way that you can see this the most is that when somebody gets fired on the Democratic side of things, their endeavors to be relevant, even something like Jon Stewart coming back, which apparently has not been as successful as you might think. And I just imagined it would be, because I love Jon Stewart and I've seen little clips here or there, but I haven't been able to watch. Well, apparently a lot of people haven't been able to watch. And I do feel like Jon is a little bit more fair than a lot of the people out there, and I appreciate him trying to be more centrist, and I like to try to encourage that. Bill Maher, I appreciate him trying to be more centrist. I appreciate anybody willing to go to the middle and just be able to like communicate with each other, so we avoid something like a civil war or whatever. It's just it's like the only way for us to be able to defeat the ideas of because if there's a civil war, it's like the people who win are the people in the power position. They're just going to break up the whole fucking country or whatever else in various ways that suit them. So we don't want anything like that, because we're just not in a big enough power position to do anything about it. So we want to come together. We want to figure out how to move forward together and make the world a better place. And that's really all there is to it. So, don't let yourself get upset about all these things. It's sort of silly. Who is Jimmy Kimmel? Who is Gina Carano? Whatever. Both of them, I think, deserve our protection from free speech. And, we don't want to turn into a place like the UK where people are getting arrested for their posts on freaking Instagram and stuff. We really have to back up everybody. I think it's just a shame that most of these voices who were backing up Jimmy Kimmel were not there when Gina Carano and other people who were getting canceled at various times needed help as well. Because a lot of these noisy voices seem to really be able to get some things done, as they just got some things done for Jimmy Kimmel, it seems. But, where were they for other people on the other side of things? If you believe in something as an honorable justice, you have to execute it equally for all people, or you are committing a certain type of ism, you're ist, sorry, you're committing a certain type of discrimination. That's the right word. And really, we shouldn't be blanket discriminating on any level for any reason. I really think I've met enough people in this world to know that, a lot of people, I mean, not a lot of people, but, every person is a unique butterfly. You could pocket a lot of people into similar categories, but they are all their unique version of dysfunction or function or whatever it may be. And we don't know, nobody can profess to really know people truly, but themselves and, and God, I guess, the big fucking fish tank, as I used to call it. We got to be a little bit more open to, just being fucking cool and hanging in here so that there's less violence and whatever other stuff that seems excusable. Because I don't think most of the violence that we see is actually, I think it's partially manufactured, is what I would say. And I think that the more we don't help them descend into violence, the more it seems unlikely that there should be more violence, and the more they have to put on these stupid shows and let it be more and more obvious that they just assassinated a public figure. There's just so much that is obvious about so many things that happen if we look back at history and see what has come out. Now just so many things like the JFK assassination, it's come out now. The files have been disclosed. You can go and find out direct information on what happened there in that situation. So just dig into some of these things a little bit, and don't let yourself fall into fucking the quagmire of being, righteously upset about anything that comes on the news that might inflame you, about being sad about Charlie Kirk, or if you're super liberal and you don't like that this happened to Jimmy Kimmel in a really vicious way, please don't. It's all designed to just keep us fighting and keep everybody mad, and it's not the way. The way is balance. Anyway, I'm just Blaze Snider. Please check out my Solfeggio Healing Transmissions Kickstarter. It's going to be running on Friday. Really appreciate that. And I appreciate you listening to the show. Come back on Saturday when I'm going to be talking about, something. I've got a backlog of some movies and some shows and stuff that I want to talk about. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to pick, and I can't remember anything off the top of my head. But one of them will be coming at you. Anyway, I love you, and I hope you join me again next Wednesday for another fucking awesome episode of The Coolest Geek Alive. Peace out.
You've been listening to Coolest Geek Alive with me, your host, Jesse Blaze Snider. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more excellent geek culture content. Thanks for listening.
It's my favorite part. Isn't that heavy? I'll play that. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Coolest alive. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Stay with your tribe. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Revenge of the Geeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Week after weeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Laughing with you. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And crying sometimes too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Spelling it out. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Making you shout. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Talking some shit. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Living the shit. My voice is fucking awesome. Food in our mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Get in the mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Tell all your friends. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Call right on text. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Raising the bar. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Straight to the stars. It's gonna be fucking awesome. It's starting soon. Straight to the top. Awesome. Passing the moon. It's gonna be fucking awesome. On with the show. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Ready, set, go.
It's going to be fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Just wait. You'll see. Oh, see?
The podcast playground. Hooray!